Yo, 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 what's going on? What's up, Mr. Goodbread? How you doing, bro? What is going on, guys? What is going on, guys?
What's up, Mr. Goodbread?
All right, cool, cool. All right, hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are being safe. Welcome to another stream, live stream. All right, welcome to another live stream of Men Operating in Reality. We should get okay, let's talk about it coming on soon. But until then, we're gonna get started. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are being safe. Let me make sure I get all the videos. So I'm gonna show two videos today. I'm gonna show two videos today. The main topic, as you guys see in the thumbnail, is I'm gonna talk about the article of the rise of lonely single men and whatnot. So I saw this video. This video of a dude breaking it down. There's one chick on TikTok or something like that. And then I'm gonna kind of switch topics, and I saw this one video on YouTube by a YouTuber Pink Book Lessons. I wanted to talk about this and how nowadays we are getting all these modern women, bro. All these modern women are like, it's crazy because we been getting a lot of these stories where these modern women are taking out their children, and it's kind of like now we're getting to the point where it's like now like we're not caring about the children no more. Like there's nothing to have to do with the children. Like it's crazy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Before we get started, please hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you know next time I drop as well. Damn, did I put up my Cash App? I don't think I put up my Cash App. But I'll put up the Cash App real quick. So anybody want to hit the Cash App, you can hit the Cash App as well. I appreciate that. Maybe hold on. I think you know what I'm gonna do. Hold on, bro. Oops. Shoot. I messed it up. All right, it's all good. That's all good. Hold on. I'm gonna put the link up if you want to hop in because I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this topic: the rise of lonely single men. Nowadays, Kevin Samuels. What did he have? What did he say? What was that thing? Buy a dog, die alone. He used to tell the women. And now we have this study, psychology. What was it? Psychology Now or whatever. I can't remember what the study was. Psychology Alive or Psychology Now. But they had that. They had this study, and they had the article talking about men are now single and lonelier than ever, all that stuff like that. So I wanted to talk about that because that kind of tripped me out when I heard that. And I was like, it goes to show that they don't know men. They don't know nothing about men, or do they care about men? So I wanted to talk about show this video here on Facebook. So I think this guy also breaks it down. So I want to get his take as well. But I really wanted to show this woman's take right here because I've seen her on a few videos, a few TikToks or whatnot, and her viewpoints are kind of womanist, feminist type stuff, whatever. But all right, all right, let's start this video. Oh,
Psychology Today released this article about the rise of lonely single men.
which I think is a direct correlation to the rise of like Andrew Tate, alpha male, fresh and fit culture. The article says dating opportunities for heterosexual men are diminishing as healthy relationship standards increase. Younger and middle-aged men are the loneliest they've ever been. We can fucking tell. And it's probably going to get worse. Over the last 30 years, men have become a larger portion of that growing group of long-term single people, also known as incels. And while you don't actually need to be in a relationship to be happy, men typically are happier and healthier when partnered, because women are doing their domestic and emotional labor for them. So 62% of people on dating apps are men, which is why women are being pickier because they have more options. Skills deficits. For men, this means a relationship skills gap that, if not addressed, will likely lead to fewer dating opportunities, less patience for poor communication skills, and longer periods of being single. The problem for men is that emotional connection is the lifeblood of healthy long-term love. Emotional connection requires all the skills that families are still not consistently teaching their young boys. I love how this article basically said the exact opposite of what we're conditioned to think since we're young. Not only are women not the ones who should fear loneliness, it's men who are more likely to be spinsters, spinsters at that. The skills of effective communication and compassion that your girlfriend always tells you to get before she leaves you, those are the ones that are making you single. Still, I basically view alpha male culture as like men, particularly incels, having like a temper tantrum because this is happening, right? Because they're encouraging the opposite of what psychology today is saying works, which is being a nice
Psychology Today, that's what it's called.
being compassionate, communicating well, seeing women as human beings, things like that alpha male culture is very much advocating against. It's literally a temper tantrum from the men who don't have the skills to be in a healthy relationship. And so speak out and ask you what color your Bugatti is.
First thing that I wanted to say is Andrew Tate and Fresh and Fit are not responsible for why there's a bunch of single men.
I agree with him with that. First of all, I'm gonna go back. Let me go back to what she was talking about, man. God damn, boy, we got a lot to unpack on that. But before we get started, let me get my boy in.
What's up? What's up? What's going on?
What's up,
I see you
man?
already going in. I see you already
Yeah,
talking
bro.
about it.
I was just about to go in, bro. I don't know if you saw the video, but I'm talking about this what's the Psychology Today, where they talked about the rise of lonely single men. I was just about to jump into
Oh
this.
my God. Okay. Let's go.
I'm
Let's
gonna
talk.
be
Let's
playing.
talk about it.
Woo-wee, boy, I'm definitely want to go and unpack. Actually, you know what? Since you just got here, we're gonna start it over from the beginning. I'm gonna do some pauses to kind of debunk with some of the stuff because I just did it straight through what this girl was talking about.
All right.
Man, I
Let's
gotta
do it.
show
Let's do
this,
it.
and I'm gonna show the rest because I'm gonna show his. He got his take as well. We're gonna show his take as well. But man, this girl right here, boy, yeah, let's. But before we get started, man, why don't you introduce yourself, bro?
You already know, man. Mr. OKL coming by way of OK. Let's talk about it on YouTube. I run a platform called OK. Let's Talk TV. And that being said, y'all hit that like button. Y'all make sure y'all are staying tuned because me and this brother here got a lot of things coming forward, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, so let's start the video again, man. All
I
right, let's
can't wait
start
to
this
see
real
this.
quick.
Psychology Today released this article about the rise of lonely single men, which I think is a direct correlation to the rise of like Andrew Tate, alpha male, fresh and fit culture. The article says
Oh,
dating
come
opportunities
on.
for heterosexual men are diminishing as
Let
healthy
me pause it real quick, man. First of all, Fresh and Fit, Andrew Tate, they didn't make this culture. They didn't make this up. This is not
Right.
something that they created. That's the weird thing about these modern women now. They think that
Right.
Fresh and Fit, Kevin Samuels created this whole thing. So they gotta
And
stop
and the
stop
thing,
doing that.
right. And the thing is, Killer, what they try to do is they try to equate that shit to like, okay, the reason why men are lonely. Right, for sure, for sure. So the reason why men are lonely is because, okay, we our standards are rising, and Fresh and Fit does teach men to have standards. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
these dating coaches do teach men to have standards. So they're trying to make it seem like it's a lonely thing. It's actually we're just going MGTOW. Men have been lonely for decades.
Exactly.
We've been lonely for decades.
We've
And
been
we're
lonely
not
for
scared to
decades.
admit that. We
Mhm.
are not scared to admit that.
That where do you think Kevin Samuels got that from? It's because men die alone. But it's just that when men die alone, we just don't cry about it. We're just by ourselves alone in our own house, and we just die, and nobody cares about that. But now when Kevin Samuels say, "Oh, buy a dog dying alone," now women experience that dying alone. Now they want to say, "Oh, there's a psychology and rising single men, lonely men, and
Hmm.
all that type of stuff," but they don't realize that men have always died alone since the beginning of time.
Yeah, what do you think the army was about? Men are leaving their families to go die alone.
Hmm.
We've been doing it since the dawn of time.
Exactly. So they want to do it as a gotcha moment. That's the reason why this article exists. This is a gotcha moment to try
Exactly.
to shame us men.
Hmm.
So let's continue with this.
Standards increase. Younger and middle-aged men are the loneliest they've ever been. We can fucking tell. And it's probably going to get
Shaming
worse
language.
over the
Shame, insults,
It
guilt. So
it
it's like the shaming
see,
language.
and what I don't appreciate and what I find disingenuous is
Hmm.
the fact that these women try to swim in shaming us. Like every time they get a moment to try to shit on us, they do it. It doesn't even matter if it's like a moment where they should actually like pat us on the back or be there for us.
Hmm.
Like this is it's almost like, remember the term "who hurt you." Like women will literally shame you for your trauma, but when you ask them, what happened 10 years into them dating, I went through a lot of trauma, heartbreaks in my younger days. That's why I'm like this. It's almost
Yep.
like you're a hypocrite. It's very
Yeah.
hypocritical, the things that they're doing.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why I did the live stream yesterday. I said, don't. As a man, you shouldn't be opening up to women like that because exactly what you said. Exactly what you said. All right. Let's continue with the video.
the last 30 years, men have become a larger portion of that growing group of long-term single people, also known as incels. And while you don't actually need to be in a
Come on,
relationship to
man.
be happy,
Again, another shaming insult.
So,
Incels.
so all of us are incels if we're single.
Right, exactly. Because there's some blue pill simps that agree with what you're talking about that are single and lonely. So that makes them incel too. Telling you, because they want to shame the Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit, Kevin Samuels, and all that type of stuff, and use that. But oh, you're single because of that. The
Right,
shaming language.
right. Yeah.
men typically are happier and healthier when partnered because women are doing their domestic and emotional labor for them. So
That is
62%
not true.
of people on dating apps are men, which is why women are being pickier because they have more options.
Huh, I gotta stop that one. When she said that
But
the most
it,
happiest. Oh
yes,
my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah. Kind of run it back and let her say it again real quick. Let
Yeah.
the people hear that. Like I got a bone to pick with that one.
Yeah.
Domestic and emotional labor for them.
Huh.
So typically are happier and known as incels. And while you don't actually need to be in a relationship to be happy, men typically are happier and healthier when partnered because women are doing their domestic and emotional labor for them.
I gotta tell you, that is not true.
Like, are you kidding me?
Like I
All
know
right, so
married. We gonna say
go,
okay.
real quick, just break down what she said. Women are doing their domestic and emotional labor. Women are not domestic today. No,
You're
there's no
right.
women doing domestic labor for men today. Hell, you ask them to cook and clean, and they think that's slavery. So
Exactly.
cut that part out. And emotional labor, right now, you're not doing the emotional labor you're claiming that y'all are doing. You're
Hmm.
shaming us. So that's not emotional labor. You're actually shaming men right now. So what she's saying
Exactly.
is contradicting her whole statement.
And then what's so funny is when you say men are happier in relationships. That's not true, especially when they're married. I know a lot of married men, bro. They've told me, bro, that they will go when they come from work. They will sit in their car for like a few minutes. They're like, "Damn, I won't go into this house. I love my wife,
That
but I don't
is
like her." You know what I'm
sad.
saying, bro?
That's sad.
I've known plenty of married men that have told me that, bro, literally to my face. And,
Shit.
and and that's what most men feel. That's why we have these phrases: happy wife, happy life. They don't want to deal with
Mhm.
a woman that's bitchy all the time. So they want to make their wife happy so she can be quiet.
Right.
Men are not happier in relationships. That's why most men are going MGTOW or taking the red pill or being players or whatnot because they know that being with that one woman even though it could be great if you're especially a average man. If you know, that could be great, especially an average man. Um, the attitude, all the modernism that we have for today, all that stuff, it makes things bad. It makes things. I don't know. It makes things very well, listen, not depressing, but it makes things tough. Makes things tough to deal with. And then on top of that, the divorce. We have the chance that the woman could be a 304, the chance that the woman can have a child that might not be yours. All these different consequences and these different problems that could arise that can make a man more depressed and not much happier when being in a relationship. Thinking to the back. This is why a lot of men are going MGTOW, because they were in a relationship. They thought they were happy. Then what's that one main thing the girl says? Oh, I'm not happy. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. They don't feel like they're having fun in this relationship. Whatever. Then they break
They're
up
not
with
living
the guy.
they're not living the
Mhm.
life they wanted to live, etc. Whatever they boil it down
Whatever
to.
excuse they grew apart. Whatever excuse
Yeah.
they love to say. Then that leaves the men. He loses half of his assets. Most times, why we think we have the homeless? Why you think men are homeless? A lot of times they were married and they lost everything in the divorce, paid child support, all this type of stuff. Men are not happier in a relationship, and then especially not happy at all. They're even worse. That's why most men are depressed and take themselves out. They're even worse after the breakup because they've lost so much stuff. So it's crazy that these modern women love to think that we're much happier with them, when a lot of times we are more sad or depressed when we're with them. It's craziness. All right, let's continue.
So 62% of people on dating apps are men, which is why women are being pickier because they have more options. Skills deficits. For men, this means a
I gotta
relationship.
stop that real quick. What did that have to do with the other? Because 62% of men. Hold on. Okay, you're muted.
I got it.
Okay, cool.
No, I was just saying, right? Like, what the hell did that have to do with anything?
You're right. that didn't correlate. Okay, women,
Right.
the men, 62 men are in dating apps, and okay, to say something with that right there, man, the men are in dating apps because it's easier to get sex that way.
Right. And then on top of that, it's more men on there because we don't have as much options.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because you guys are pickier, it's because we don't have options. So men are eager to get sex. And like Quabo just said, it's easier to get sex online.
Exactly. All I gotta do is go on POF or Tinder or something. Swipe
Right.
right to all the chicks. One of them is gonna hit me back. It's all
Right.
about numbers. So let's continue.
Right.
Relationship skills gap that, if not addressed, will likely lead to fewer dating opportunities, less patience for poor communication skills, and longer periods of being single. The problem for men is that emotional connection is the lifeblood of healthy long-term love. Emotional connection requires all the skills that families are still not consistently teaching their young boys.
God, I know we keep pausing it. Man, but I gotta address, like, it's like I gotta nitpick every point that she says right here. First of all, the emotional connection is not the lifeblood of no relationship, no healthy relationship at all. We gotta debunk that right there. No,
We about to.
like emotional relationship, a relationship, a marriage is about duty, respect, and honor. I love what Kevin Samuels used to say. They said, "Fuck love." That shit is not about love. Fuck that shit. You
Right.
can get love. Now, I'm not saying love is not important. You can get and you can develop love, but that is not what it's all about. It's about uh, uh, duty, honor, uh, 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 and creating the legacy and creating the next
Right.
generation.
Right. We
And this is
grown here,
what
man.
exactly. This is what, especially modern women, don't even realize. And this is why they live a life full of chaos. They think that it's all about having fun and all about the feels, all about emotion. And that's why they're the ones that do 80% of the divorce, because they get into their emotions. One day they're like,
Hmm.
oh damn, I'm not happy in this relationship. Or I'm gonna break up with that guy, or I'm gonna cheat. and they don't realize that a marriage is more than just going on trips all the time. Sometimes it
Right.
gets boring. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's not fun. A marriage is work. It's
It's
all
not
about
about
work.
fun. It's not
Exactly.
about fun. There's things to do that are fun. Getting married is not fun. It's a
Exactly.
commitment.
Hmm.
Come on, man.
And
Look at
these
her eyes.
women.
She got bags under her eyes like she just smoked some weed and she probably just came from the club last night or some shit.
Right? Yeah, some
We're
shit.
gonna listen to these types of modern women, man.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. She probably single herself. See, she talking about
Guaranteed.
emotional relationships.
Guaranteed.
Hmm. She talking about emotional relationships and connection. She probably don't have an emotional connection. And it's so funny because they think again that being in a relationship is about emotions and all that type of stuff. Yes, you got to learn how to deal with somebody's emotions, and especially yours as well. But at the same time, that's not what the relationship is about. And I keep harping on that because this is why we're failing as a group, as a human race, because we thinking all about our relationships like this. That's why, because the next story after this, okay, I'm gonna do a different story after this about a woman who goes crazy because she loses custody. She's not thinking about the kids. She's thinking about herself. But let's continue with this video.
I love how this article basically said the exact opposite of what we're conditioned to think since we're young. Not only are women not the ones who should fear loneliness, it's men who are more likely to be spinsters, unhappy spinsters at that.
That's
The skills
cap.
of effective communication.
That
What'd you say?
is cap. That's fucking bullshit, man.
Yeah.
Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to compare single men
Hmm.
who they don't look at, because we all know 80% of women are dealing with 20% of men out here. My mic good, brother?
Yeah, you good. We can hear you.
Yeah, so 80% of men, 80% of women are dealing with 20% of men. So a
Hmm.
minority of men are getting all the sex from these women. And she's trying to compare that to the 80 to 90% of women who are actively having sex and who are still lonely and depressed.
Exactly.
These motherfuckers, they're getting sex, they are not single, and they are still depressed. So when we boil it down, the most loneliest, depressed, traumatic demographic is a woman in America.
Hmm.
Hands down. They the
Hands
unhappiest.
down.
Come on, man. They the unhappy. If
Exactly.
not, then we wouldn't have an 80% marriage divorce rate. And most
Hmm.
of it is not about money. Most of it is about, oh, I want to live a better life. Most of it is about hypergamy.
Exactly.
We gonna debunk this bitch tonight, man. I swear to God.
Yeah. Yo, for real. No, I definitely agree. And second of all, she trying to use a woman's term spinster. That's what we call women. If we're single men, we're hermit. We like to be on our own. And a lot of
You,
times, again, we are not unhappy when we decide to be on our own. We're happy. Trust me on that. Men are a lot
you see,
happier when they're on their own.
you see how they like to try to compare their situation to a woman's man's situation. They
Exactly.
think they look at our situations from a female lens. So it's like you said, a gotcha moment. She's trying
Hmm.
to compare it to their demographic. It's totally different, man.
Exactly. Because what women don't realize is even though we're getting standards now, we necessarily can go below our standards. Like if I want to get a chick tomorrow, let me find like the ugliest chick. Or
Hmm.
maybe she overweight, she fat. You know what I'm saying? She might be broke. She can be homeless. I'd be like, you know what? What's good? All I gotta do is find me a homeless chick, change her life real quick. I can get me a girl
Right.
like that. We can lower our standards. Women
Good point.
cannot.
Good point, Quabo. Good point.
Women cannot. So let's continue.
And compassion that your girlfriend always tells you to get before she leaves you. Yeah, those are the ones that are
So
making
run
you
it back.
single.
Give me 5 seconds back, because she just
Yeah, yeah.
lied.
Hold on.
The skills of effective communication and compassion that your girlfriend always tells you to get before she leaves you. Yeah, those are the ones that are making you single. Still, I basically view alpha male culture
Ah,
as like men, particularly incels, have
no,
How
she
you
tapped
feel?
out there. You feel me? Because what? How? It's not how I feel. It's what I know.
Oh yeah, what
These,
you yeah.
this women check out and they lack communicate. That's a crab leg. Women check the fuck out and they don't communicate with you weeks or months before they fucking break up with you. She been done checked out
Mm-hmm.
already. See, most women find before they leave, they find a scapegoat first and they get up out of there. They not communicating with you. They not telling you to keep communicating with them. As a matter of fact, we have a lot of simps out here that try their best to communicate and keep their girl, and all it does is
Mm-hmm.
it pushes them away and runs the bitch away.
Exactly. Exactly. Real good point, man. Real good point. Let's continue with the video.
having like a temper tantrum because this is happening, right? Because they're encouraging the opposite of what psychology today is saying works, which is
I gotta pause that real quick as well. It goes back to what you said.
I'm
Okay,
sorry, man. This bitch is
yeah.
crazy, man.
It goes back to what you said. They kept giving me the who hurt you. You know what I'm saying? They're using that who hurt you. That's why she's talking about it's a temper tantrum or whatever. But what they don't realize is what we're telling is the truth and what is going on in nature and what we experience every day. If women don't realize it or not, they always want the best of the best men, and that's from their nature from years and years. You know what I'm saying? From the beginning of time. But when now we're telling them that what it is, why relationships ain't working nowadays, but then they want to say it's a temper tantrum because we are actually now criticizing them more so. We're criticizing them as much as they used to criticize us. So let's continue with the video.
being a nice human being, being compassionate, communicating well, seeing women as human beings, things like that, that alpha male culture is very much advocating against. It's literally a temper tantrum from the men who don't have the skills to be in a healthy relationship. And so speak out and ask you what
Again,
is.
First thing they
did
want
you see what she just did there?
What?
End of the day, she blamed the man. So you
Yeah.
see how she said it's the alpha males and the toxic masculinity that's making these bitches act out the way they act out. So it's a man's fault.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it always a man's fault? Maybe we're
Because
just insecure.
yep. Like again, women don't want to take accountability for their actions, and I'll show you the next video, but that I show. But women don't want to take accountability for their actions, and that's why I say women can't make good leaders because you got to take L's, you got to take accountability if it's your fault, and a lot of women don't want to say it's their fault that they are single, and why men are opting out of relationships because that's one another thing you don't realize. Men are opting out of relationships. They don't want to be
Right.
in relationships anymore.
Right. We're
It's,
giving
it's
up.
exactly we're giving up. So let's continue with this. And I want to hear this guy's point.
Okay.
is Andrew Tate and Fresh and Fit are not responsible for why there's a bunch of single men. It's not that I'm trying to support them, but there's a lot of things that you're saying that's just incorrect. Men were already single, men were already upset. The only way that their platform could ever exist is because there was a bunch of men that shared the same
Okay. Yo,
Sheesh.
sorry, having technical difficulties over here.
Technically, you know how that go, guys. You know how that go.
All right, let me see. Let me get the video back up.
Let's get it back in. Let's get this show back running, guys.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're still going. Yeah, sorry about that. Having technical difficulties, but hey, that's how it goes sometimes. You know what I'm saying? That's how it works sometimes. But yeah, what I was gonna say was I was going back to what his point was. Let me actually rewind that back.
In a healthy relationship. And so speak out and ask you what color your Bugatti is.
First thing that I wanted to say is Andrew Tate and Fresh and Fit are not responsible for why there's a bunch of single men. It's not that I'm trying to support them, but there's a lot of things that you're saying that's just incorrect. Men were already single. Men were already upset. The only way that their platform could ever exist is because there was a bunch of men that shared the same experience.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's the reason why this whole sphere exists in the first place. We all went through the same experience, and then when we actually try to talk about it to women, they shamed us for it. So it was like,
who hurt you?
Exactly, who hurt you? You're gay, all that type of stuff. So he was like, you know what? Let's get together and actually talk about our problems and come together and actually, you know what I'm saying, figure out how we can help each other. Yo, shout out to XL Pro. Salute, brother.
Facts. The righteous fears in the building.
Yes, sir. But yeah, that's the only reason why we have this spirit in the first place, to come together and actually be able to break down our problems. This is the therapy we've been trying to do. These minor women want us to talk to them and talk to them and all stuff. This is our therapy, talking to each other, because men are the only ones that can understand men's problems. Women don't care about our problems.
That's a fact.
So let's continue.
In America, there are 98 males for every 100 females. So that means if there's more men choosing to be single for long term, that's to be single. Or two, women are more likely to be sharing a man if they don't know it.
About that, hold on. Trying to see what's up with my internet.
Hit that like button on the way in, guys.
Yes, sir. XL Pro, read this comment real quick. Men build with men, dirty folks. Yes, sir. That is absolutely right. Men build with men. And that's funny that he said that as well, because I just saw a video, mediocre tutorial reviews. I think I did a video yesterday where it was talking about men. When we build together, we actually attract women because we show that we can work together and we can actually build something and build a lifestyle once we work together.
Exactly.
All right, let's continue with this video.
All right.
Let's just do some math. For the same age group, it says that 70% of women are in a relationship, but only 50% of men are available, which means there's a bunch of women that do not know that they are sharing right now. So when I see all these women laughing at the statistics, this hurts y'all too. This girl said, "We did it, ladies," like it was a win. Standards of a relationship have gone up, but that's not actually true. Women have always had these standards. With them. And before I continue, what we not going to do is blame men or blame women for these standards. What a lot of y'all don't understand is that there's a lot of culture and history that goes way back. And
he kind of breaking up.
For the standards that we have chosen today. One place that your standards can come from is your parents and seeing how they are together. You grow up and be like, I want something like my mom and dad. Another place that people are getting.
All right, were you able to watch that video? Were you able to watch that part?
Well, yeah, that last part I said, I definitely heard that.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to address that real quick. He's absolutely right. You definitely, and that's why these women operate talking about they want a guy that pays for everything, because that's what her father did, if they had a father in their life.
I mean, but there's a lot of women who don't have fathers in their lives, and they want a man to pay for everything.
That's true
Most
too.
women don't have fathers in their lives, and they still want a man to pay for everything. And I still want to point out the fact, while it was breaking up, what he was saying is 70% of women are in relationships, and there's only 50% of men that are available, according to these women. So they are dealing with a minority of men, sharing men, and they don't even know it. I would argue that they do know it because all of them are shooting for the same type of God. They don't
Mm.
see most men; they see a minority of men.
Yeah, you got a point because I have heard that a lot of women aren't really interested in men unless they know that they got other women chasing him. Like they like to be like they're the woman that get picked amongst a lot of other women. You know what I'm
Of,
saying? Like being the
of
competition.
course. I mean, why do you think when you go to nightclubs, you see the baller that has a VIP section? Most women want to get in that section.
Yep.
Most women
Yep. That's
surround
true.
that guy. Most women want to be around the guy that has most women around them.
Yep. Yep. No, you're very right. You're very right. And I also like to say as well, like going to what his point, a lot of like people who definitely seem like how their mother and father operate. Well, I guess we would say a lot of older individuals that see had a mother and father that you live together. They would like to see uh their marriage the same way as their parents. I can use my family as an example. My brother, he's married, um, and he operates the same way my parents did when they. My parents are still married, but they operate the same way my parents were when they were younger in their marriage or whatnot. So I can definitely see his point when he was talking about they want to be like how their parents were.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Let's read XL Pro's comment real quick. 80% of men are invisible. He's absolutely right.
Right. That's why I
80%
say
of men.
80% of women are dealing with 20% of men. That
Mm-hmm.
leaves 80% of men that are not really dealing with women out here like that.
Exactly. Exactly. Let's continue with the video.
Their standards from are from movies like this. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
Prince Charming is going to come, bring his resources, and just save you from the world.
Right.
He's going to do romantic shit for you. He's going to be exclusive and make you feel love to the end of time. And let's not forget social media, where people are now getting paid to portray a romantic relationship, even though behind the scenes they're not even really happy. But they still get up to smile for the camera.
Hey, he's absolutely right about both of those points. People watch a lot of movies. They think they see the happily ever after. They think that's all. That's all it is to it. They don't never
Hmm.
think about what happens after that. They see all that romantic stuff, like all that romantic stuff they see in Disney. They think that's how it's supposed to be all the time. I remember I was in the group. I was in the Kevin Samuels group, and some woman tried to say what a good black man was. It was some guy who was cut. He was taking his girl out to Jamaica and taking to these fancy ass restaurants and hotels, and they said that's what a good man is. I'm looking, that's what a good man is. Then what the hell do you gotta do to be a great man? You gotta be God? What the hell?
Yeah, you got to be
Like
Superman.
I'm not trying to knock the dude for taking this girl out and doing all these fancy trips. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they put that as an average standard. Good is being good is good, but that's sort of like an average standard. So they're saying that average is being able to do extravagancy for a woman is just standard compared to a guy just who's working is able to provide and protect, even though he's not able to, even though he's making $40,000 a year.
Shit, we can even take it to 60,000 a year. Shit.
Hmm. I mean, I'm just saying livable wage, like a livable wage that he's able to pay the bills
Mhm.
where you don't have to worry about it.
Right.
It's crazy. It's crazy, like the standards, quote unquote, that these modern women try to have nowadays, based off of social media and these movies and stuff.
Right. And guys, it's called hypergamy.
Hmm.
It's called hypergamy.
Let's continue.
It is possible that relationship standards have gone up on both sides, but that's not why this is happening. This shift is only happening because of the redistribution of leverage between man and woman.
Hmm.
Whoever has more leverage in a relationship ends up determining the standards. Now, just because one side has more leverage does not mean that their standards are justified. It just means that the other person is more likely to submit to you because there's no other options. So it used to be, as
Good
a
point.
man, I put the resources, I
Yeah.
put the money, and put a house over our head. In exchange, women would watch the kid, keep food on the table, and keep the house clean. But in 2022, that is not the case anymore. Now that women can make their own money, they have more bargaining power. Women are becoming more aware of this, and they are now demanding the standards that they've always had. Men have actually been able to ignore this for a long time because they've always had leverage. Now that women have more leverage, if not equal to men, they're putting their foot down to get a relationship standard that they've always wanted.
I actually have not heard that before. That's actually very interesting.
Yeah,
I've never heard
it's
that point
interesting.
before.
But I don't think women have always wanted that, though. I'm gonna say that they didn't always want that.
Yeah.
Women were
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
no,
majority of
yeah,
women were happy housewives. I
Mhm.
just hate how they put a stigma on housewives, and I have a interview coming up soon from a house. I'm gonna be talking to an actual housewife. She's a YouTuber as well.
Mhm.
They were happier back then,
Oh yeah, for sure.
so I don't understand why they keep saying the majority of women always wanted to be able to, work and compete against the man. That was a minority of women. That were the feminists.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. I remember I watched this movie. It was actually about like four sisters. One of them was a feminist, and it was based like in the 1920s or something like that. I think it was called Pretty Woman or something like that. And one of
Okay.
them was a feminist, and the whole time she was doing her thing. You know what I'm saying? Trying to be a writer and all that type of stuff. She comes home in the end of the movie, and she tells her mom, she's like, "Yo, mom, I know I want to be a feminist and all that type of stuff, but I'm fucking lonely." And I'm looking like, bro, that is the most honest thing I ever seen in any of these goddamn feminist type movies like that. Like these women, yeah, they want to be feminist. The whole movie, she's like, okay, I'm doing my thing. I don't care, whatever what a man says. By the end of the movie, she's like, damn, I know I say all this, but I'm lonely as hell. I'm looking
Facts.
like that's exactly what happens to all these modern women. All these modern women. I'm gonna read XL Pro's comment real quick. Modern
Okay.
women get too much attention. It was way different before social media and smartphones. Yep,
Yep.
exactly. At first, a woman had to go out and actually get attention, go somewhere to get attention.
Right.
Nowadays, all you gotta do is just make a post on Instagram, and that's it.
And lay in her
That's
damn
it. Let me
bedroom.
read this other one. Yep, lay in her bedroom. Yep, all she gotta do is lay in her bedroom. She ain't even gotta go out anymore. XL Pro says now most on antidepressant drugs, but strong independent. Yeah, for
Yep.
real. Most of them
Mhm.
are medicated. The most medicated, women in this generation. All of them are some type of depressed. All of them are some type of bipolar. All of them are
Right.
some type of mental illness or something like that. All right, let's continue with this video.
The problem with this is that most men are not meeting those standards. The person that wrote this article and her is trying to say that most men do not meet women's standards because men do not know how to communicate emotionally. But I'm going to show you two statistics that doesn't support this article. 73% of women prefer to date a guy taller than 5'9". Only 4% of women are okay with dating a man that's shorter than them. So if you look here, only about 50% of men are above that height of 5'9". Second statistic, 69% of women say it's important to have a partner that makes or will make a lot of money. Which means making just as much as them, if not more. The average woman makes $50,000 a year. There's only 50% of men that make $50,000 a year. So if 50% of men are 5'9", okay, and 50% of men are making $50,000 a year, that only leaves you 25% of men that are in your standards so far.
What do you say? Okay.
No, I said that supports all the statistics that I be talking about.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, very true. Very true.
That means that 75% of men are already below the standard for the modern woman. And that is before they even open their...
Oh, yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Yep.
So we got to go. So just to even get a woman's attention, we got to be at that either over 5'9" or making at least $50,000 a year.
Not
Just at
or
least.
and
Oh, and yeah, you're right. And
they got a checklist for you, man. Trust.
yeah, that's true. You're right. You're right. Just even before we even try to talk to them, even before then, which is crazy to me. And it's so crazy because I met this girl the other day, like this past weekend, and one of my homeboys, homegirls or whatever, and she over the first thing she comes through is talks about another man, how she doing him dirty and stuff like that. And I'm looking like, yo, first of all, she hit all the check boxes for the modern women, tattoos, bad attitude, single mother, all the bad attitudes. But the main thing, she had a man who
That's
was
enough.
well, she had a man who was going around, sleeping around with different women. He was broke, living in her house, all that stuff, and she's just dealing with it. And I'm looking like, yo, she's in all the check box. She's gonna be one of those modern women that are gonna come out and say, men ain't this, men ain't that.
Yep.
And they go through all this trauma and problems, and then when they get out of it, they're like, oh, men can deal with this emotionally. It's crazy.
They're the ones emotionally damaged, though.
Mm-hmm. Let's continue with this.
And you have an article stating that most men are single because they don't know how to communicate. Nobody here can say that these two standards are required to have a healthy relationship. If anything, it's shallow and superficial.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it is okay to have high standards, but what we're not going to do is say these are healthy standards.
Mm-hmm.
It also goes on to say that men have a need for a relationship or companionship more often than women. But this is not a gender thing. Most humans, if not all, require companionship. So now we have men.
And while I agree with that, I also can say that men are also able to do things alone or able to be alone because we have to be alone. Sometimes we have to be alone. That's the unfortunate truth of the world. That's the ultimate red pill right there, is to realize that sometimes as a man, you could end up alone.
Yeah.
And it can happen sometimes, unfortunately. But that's the thing that women don't realize. Women have always been able to couple up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who she was, what she looked like, how ugly she was, or whatever. They've always been able to couple up. There's only been a few times a woman back in the day. The main reason a woman would probably die alone is because her husband died or something. But a lot of
Right.
times women used to couple up. Men, on the other hand, we had to realize sometimes that we would end up being alone. And that's the unfortunate truth.
Mm-hmm.
Out here that are like 5'3", and only 50% of them make more than 50K. It doesn't matter how nice he is and how good he can communicate, because he knows that he's already below standards before he opens his mouth. These kind of standards kills a man's confidence, and he just gives up. Hence why a lot of men are becoming incels, which means involuntarily celibate, which means unable to get a romantic partner even though they desire one. Then women laugh at this and say, well, if you were better at being a man, you wouldn't have this problem. But the misunderstanding is that this isn't the men that women are talking about. So just like she said, right, women have more options, with men sliding in their DMs every day, if not hourly. Now, out of these dozens of DMs that she received, she's only going to respond to the ones that meet her standards, which only 20 or 30% of men actually do. And if she finds out that that man doesn't want to meet her standards, she can just replace him with a new one.
Exactly.
So this is not the man that women are complaining about. Y'all don't even date them. It's the high value men. And of course, the men that act high value so they can fuck you.
Right.
Women don't realize they're doing this. And they're thinking that high value men set the example for all men. But this is not a man thing. This is a high value people thing. Studies show that high value people are less their worth. They often feel entitled to have their relationship standards met, which is why a lot of them can be seen as self-centered or lacking in compassion for their partner's needs. A lot of men have already picked up on this, which is why you'll hear men say, we will fuck on a woman that's a 10, but wife a 7 or an 8. because at least they have a personality and they don't have an entitlement issue.
Yep.
But women are coming to this conclusion a lot slower because culture is telling them never settle for less, sis. A man should be giving you the world.
He's absolutely right, man, on that, bro. He's
Right.
absolutely right. It's a high value people thing. It's not like a men, women type thing. It's a high value people thing. And these women are valued by their beauty. So the more beautiful these women are, the more entitled these women feel. And that's why most of the most beautiful women are mostly single because they feel entitled to have the best of the best relationship. And if it doesn't go
Right.
their way like all the time, they're gonna break up and leave. It's crazy. But most men, like how you said, most men we can smash a 10, but we'll wife a 7 or we'll wife a 6 or a 7. We'll wife an average woman because an average woman will have personality. She will be able to she would I want to say know her place, but she would know where she her level's at with you. She will respect you. She will she will be your helpmate. Most of these women that are 10s, they won't do nothing. They will just sit around and won't do anything for you. It's crazy. Let's continue.
And if you don't want to do it, dump his ass because another man will. But what are the odds of that happening when you disqualify 70% of the market? 70% of women are competing for the same 30% of men. There isn't room for all of you, which is why a lot of y'all don't even know that you're sharing your man right now. So why is it a big deal when women are laughing at men who are unable to find a romantic partner, which is an incel, and there are no women incels. When common physiological needs are not being met, it will cause a person to die or become extremely ill. It's funny at first until this happens. This is Elliot Rodger, a person unable to get a romantic partner. This frustration made him so mentally ill, he goes to a campus and tries to kill as many people, especially women, as possible. Then he kills himself. That's not funny, especially when men are being disqualified for unhealthy dating standards.
And I gotta add this one thing as well. Those type of guys who go around and they go and do the shootings and stuff like that, they're already mentally ill to begin with. It's just
Right.
that with them not having the this physiological whatever they're physiologically met whatever, they become more mentally ill. Because I researched this guy Elliot Rogers to really figure out why this guy did what he did or whatnot, and it's because he was super entitled. He was he was really entitled for one because his background was his dad was a movie producer. His dad was a movie producer, so he was already in Hollywood already. And then this guy was socially awkward. He really didn't have any friends like that, even when growing up as a kid. So he didn't know how to talk to people. And then third, he had no game because he was a decent looking guy. He was a decent looking guy. He had money. He had looks. He had he had the status, but he had no game, bro. Anytime he would go to a party, he would just sit around and not talk to anybody and expect a girl to come talk to him. And when no
Right.
girl would come talk to him, he would be mad and depressed and he'd be mad and talking about he don't like women and all that type of stuff. But he had no game. He didn't go up and talk to no woman. And it's not like he went to a woman, they rejected him, or he dated women and he didn't date no woman, bro. He did not have one girlfriend. So he mad as hell because he never had that connection at all because he never learned those skills. He never learned those type of skills at all to communicate. Period. So when he didn't get that, that his physiological needs met, he went crazy. He was already mentally in the first place. He wasn't able to develop those skills because he was socially awkward and already had that entitled mindset back in the day. So when all these women try to compare us to that guy, that's wrong because we at least a lot of these people in the space, the red pill and the MGTOW space, we've had relationships. We've been with women. We've what we talk about is some of the things that we've uh, uh, known dealing with women and understanding women.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We have to understand women to how to deal with y'all and work with y'all because, like I said, it's not just relationship wise; it's also working with so we can build as well. But with guys like Elliot Rodger and all these guys that go around do these shootings and whatnot, what the problem with these guys is they're socially awkward, weird guys that don't know how to talk with people. They may have some friends, but they're guys that never really been out and never been had the courage enough to speak to a woman and take rejection.
Right.
So that's why I get and it's so disingenuous when they try to compare those type of men to us, to everybody, to all the men in the space, to all the rest of men. It's
Oh, that's a
crazy.
good point. That's a good point. And then he keeps pointing out the incels. Like, I'm not an incel. I can tell you that for a
Mhm.
fact.
Right, exactly. I'm not an incel neither, but it's just that now we've decided to kind of back away from dealing with women, but all of a sudden we're mad we can't get no pussy. It's ridiculous. All right, let's finish this up.
This is an L for society, and I would hope that this video gives women a little bit more compassion. What y'all think about this?
All right, so that's it for that video. Let's give our final thoughts on this topic real quick. Yeah.
Man, oh man, that girl made me upset though. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah, me
And
too.
I'm
I've
like,
seen her in a
dog.
few different videos. That's why I had to bring this one up. I seen her. She's one of those womanist type. You know what I'm saying, on TikTok that want to talk about, that want to shame men all the time and not take accountability.
Right.
I always have wrong talking points. So this is one video I had to play and we had to break down. But like we said before,
Um,
men have always been lonely, or men have always died alone. It's just that we never cried about it. Modern women are now crying about being lonely. They're now hitting their 40s to 50s, still can't find a man, doing all this extra stuff, having to work extra hard, not realizing they messed themselves up by trying to compete with us.
right.
And now that people like Kevin Samuels told them, "Yo, you're gonna have to buy a dog and die alone." They want to give a gotcha article like, "Oh, men have to fear about dying alone more than women do because men." That is like, come on, man.
Nah, man.
Men die
Like I
alone all the
said,
time.
man. Exactly, bro. What do you think about the men in the army? There's
Hmm.
there's men that actually are married in relationships, et cetera, but they work their butts off and never get to see their wives. You don't
Exactly.
see these men divorcing their wives. Like, oh, I don't, I don't ever get a chance to see you. I don't want to. I'm not happy, so I think we should get a divorce. You don't really see men doing that. So, uh, what I'm trying to boil or tie in is, men have always been lonely. Like,
Hmm.
this ain't nothing new. It's just a gotcha moment they're trying to get, but they failing miserably on that because women are the highest demographic of lonely and sad and traumatic and the most just the most traumatic people. They're the
Yep.
highest demographic of that, not men. So I think
Exactly.
they're just trying to flip it on us.
Yeah. Yeah. Most definitely. They're just trying to flip it on us and trying to use the shaming tactic. They're trying to say,
Right.
"Oh,
Same
men,
old.
same old shit, man." All right, so we're gonna move on to this next video I wanted to break down, and shout out to YouTuber Pink Book Lessons. She gave this story. I saw this story, and it's another one of these stories where these modern women are committing domestic violence because they lose custody of their children. But this is a very, very wild one. And I wanted to break this down as well because it's a lot to unpack, especially with the man as well. It goes all the way back to the woman you choose to have children with, to be in a relationship with. If you cannot vet women correctly, it might end up with your life. So
Right.
let's play this video real quick.
Check it out. Let's check it
Again,
out.
check out Pink Book Lessons if you want to go give her a follow. She's actually really dope. I like her videos because she comes down and actually, breaks it down and everything like that, and gives her viewpoint very eloquently. So
Okay.
let's watch this.
Stanley Obi walked out of court. He was relieved that he finally ended his court battle with his ex. The father and his ex, Sarah Mudge, had been in a custody dispute over their children, sending 3 out of the 4 kids to live with him. Stanley was happy things worked out in his favor, but Sarah was devastated. The mother of 4 often posted pictures on Facebook, presenting herself as a loving mother whose children gave her, quote, strength. Sarah lost her kids, so she also lost her strength. And some may simply say she lost her mind. Take a second to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Click that notification bell for all updates. And if you're watching from Australia, shout out to all of you. Go ahead and let me know and drop Australia below in the comments. The 33-year-old originally from...
All right, let me pause it real quick. So I don't want to say actually exactly shame her like that, but I got to point out some things when it comes to vetting women, guys. This is where we're talking about we gotta get standards nowadays. First of all, we gotta talk about appearance. This woman is not in shape. Not in
Yeah.
shape at all.
Not
I'm
in
not saying
shape.
she
We
ugly.
see that. Yeah,
I'm not saying
she's
she's
not
ugly.
ugly. Not in
Yeah.
shape. Obviously has the paint on her, all over her face and shit.
She got
Portraying a
nose.
different. I don't even want to get into that.
Yeah, right. Nose
Right.
ring. But the reason why I want to point it out is these are all signs of her being sort of like a rebel because she wants to break away from her nature. Because again, women who are overweight, it's so they don't really want to take care of themselves like that. And while I'm not trying to shame, being fat or whatever, you got to be healthy. And for women, men love a woman with a healthy body. Nose ring, that's always a sign of a rebel as well because these women, when they get a nose ring, they want to act masculine. They want to act like they're one of the boys, like those guys with the like biker gangs or whatnot, act tough or whatnot. That's what those when they get piercings and nose ring. That's what that means. That's what that means when they get these nose rings and lip rings and all these type of different types of stuff like that. All right, so let's continue.
Often posted pictures on Facebook, presenting herself as a loving mother.
Oh, that's another thing I wanted to point out. When women post things on social media, a lot, when they talking about it, when they want to take pictures and posting on social media, that's another sign of a woman you should ignore because that type of woman right there, she's the type of woman that will tell all your business, all your deepest secrets and all that type of stuff. If you decide to open up to her, that's the type of woman that will tell anybody that will listen for her benefit and for her to get sympathy. So let's continue with the video.
Her quote, strength. Sarah lost her kids, so she also lost her strength. And some may simply say she lost her mind. Take a second to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Click that notification bell for all updates. And if you're in Nigeria, brought the kids back to his home in New Faith, Queensland.
No.
Stanley was extremely happy about the arrangement. No more fighting, and he could concentrate on his kids while also working as a nurse in a retirement home. Sarah, originally from South Australia, was born in 1991, and before she met Stanley, she was living as a single mother with a passion for photography. Sarah offered her services to families part-time, capturing their moments with her small children, but most of her time was spent with her own kids as a stay-at-home mom. Stanley created a life for himself in Australia. That's where he met Sarah. The two locked eyes at a Christmas party. They had a one-night stand, and little did Stanley know that it would end up changing his life completely. Stanley was a hardworking man, nurse by trade. He didn't have any kids at all. While Sarah, she didn't have any education and already had a child. Some would say that Sarah just wasn't on Stanley's level.
That's another thing. She was a single mother. Why would you date a single mother? Well, he's from Nigeria, so he, that was his problem. But she was a single mother. That's another problem, right there. She already had a child by another man who probably left her for this reason near the end. Let's continue with the video.
So many ways. But he got a call from her. Sarah told him that she was pregnant. Although he didn't plan to be with her long term, it was supposed to be a one night stand. He wanted to be responsible and didn't want a child growing up without a father.
He should have did a DNA test.
They started dating and fell very much in love with each other. Wanting to take responsibility for his family, Stanley quit his job and opted for a new one that would not only allow him to provide for them, but also gave him a better schedule to be able to spend time with them as well.
Well,
left the hospital and began working as a nurse in the retirement home, while Sarah continued her side hustle taking photos of clients as a family photographer. In 2020, around the same time as the pandemic, Sarah decided to take time off in order to focus on having more kids. The couple had issues here and there, but one of the biggest was Sarah telling Stanley that she wanted 8 kids, and he didn't approve of that plan. She was also concerned about safely giving birth to all these kids, so she wanted to get it all done before she turned 35. This was one of the couple's biggest disagreements. He outright told her he did not want a bunch of kids that he couldn't take care of and refused to ever take welfare. But by 2021, Sarah was pregnant again and gave birth to their youngest child.
And this is another thing. These modern women do not care about forcing you into fatherhood. Thank goodness this guy wanted to take care of his kids, but she forced that man into fatherhood. Also, guys, if she's talking about she wants to have more children and she gets pregnant, DNA test. Seriously, because that is so weird. She talking about she want to get pregnant out of nowhere and she get pregnant. Why I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, but we gotta call you out too, bro. Why were you still having sex with her like that, man? Come on now, bro. Let's continue.
Stanley took responsibility and told her that he would take care of the 4 kids, including the one that was not his. But there was no way that he could afford 8 of them. He told her no, it's not happening. But Sarah, she was adamant about having a very large family. She wanted more. So she told Stanley that she didn't care if he stayed with the family or not. He could get gone. Oh yeah, Miss Sarah got really disrespectful. She told Stanley that he was just a sperm donor. And she would look for another sperm donor to have the other kids with, regardless of his opinion. We're talking about a man who provided for her. But he even took responsibility for her other kid that she had before she met him. Provided shelter, food, worked hard on his nursing assignments so that Sarah could be comfortable. So comfortable that she thought that she could just lay up and keep having babies when Stanley told her he couldn't afford anymore.
Right.
He was already at capacity financially. A responsible man, an active father, and she disrespected him, calling him a sperm donor. Truth is, Sarah saw Stanley as disposable. She said, go ahead and leave. You're just a sperm donor, and I'll find another to help me make other kids.
And that's the selfishness of modern women nowadays, guys. She thinks because she can have children, she can say whatever she wants to this man. It's her body, her choice. She can say whatever she wants to this man and force him to be a father. of many children when he said they're not able to do it because he has to take his responsibility. She has no job, no education. He has a good job, good education, paying for everything. He said they can't afford it, but she thinks she can force this man to work harder and pay for everything because it's so easy. Her life is because everything is so easy for her. And that's what these modern women think this life is about. And then she thinks, just because I found you, I could find another guy to take care of me and my and my children. Oh my gosh. They really think because they attract one guy and they've already been ran through, they've already been used up, that if they break out of this situation, they can find another idiot to deal with that, to deal with her and her problems and her trauma. But let's see what happens later on in the story.
That right there is the reason why they broke up. Stanley wasn't going to stay and put up with her foolishness any longer, especially when Sarah went online publicly announcing on Facebook that she was a single mother and she was looking for sperm donors, saying they needed to be of African descent because she wanted all of her kids to have similar features so they all looked alike. None of the black men took her up on her offer.
Good.
Stanley had had it up to here with Sarah and her shenanigans. He filed for custody of the children in court, which also set off another chain of events, opening up another can of worms. Stanley trying to prove to the court that he was the best parent, and Sarah attempting to discredit him in every way. The issue between the ex-lovers didn't get any better as Stanley continued to fight for custody of his kids. This made Sarah so upset. In her mind, she's thinking that he was trying to take her kids away. She wrote that her kids meant everything to her, saying, "When you have no strength left, you have your children. When you are tired, they energize you. And when your heart is mourning, they bring joy to your soul. To my babies, I thank you for choosing me." She often took pictures of the kids and
She did all that. That's the reason why you leave these women that always be posting on social media alone, because they always posting online. They always putting their business out there. Those type of women will put your business out there. Look how she says she divorced looking for sperm donors. That's embarrassing. And that's the woman you had children with. Excuse me. She going online talking about she looking for sperm donors. She's disrespecting the whole family, not just the man, but the children as well. Pure chaos. Let's continue.
had a homeschooling schedule where the oldest kid was a year above grade level. Sarah was a dedicated teacher, often sharing that her children were well taught by her, and she told the court if they ended up with Stanley, they would probably have to go to public school, and the oldest would have to repeat the year that she spent homeschooling him. Not only did she say that the kids living with Stanley would be detrimental to their education, she also told the judge they wouldn't be safe with them either. Sarah posted in a DV social media group on Facebook telling everyone in the group that if something happened to her and her kids and they were found unalive, it would not be a mistake, and to make sure to point all fingers at Stanley as the culprit. She tried.
All these modern women nowadays, they love to use DV. They love to use that as a talking point against men. And then a lot of the reason, luckily this was in Australia, but a lot of the reason why here in America, why men don't get their children is because women love to say that the man made them feel unsafe, that he was committing DV against them, that they were abusive, even though it was the man just telling her, well, just correcting her and criticizing her. But it's always DV abuse when a man is correcting a woman. And they love to use that as an excuse so they can keep the children. Thank goodness in Australia they had some sense.
Not to make up false claims on Stanley, but after a thorough investigation, the police did not believe her, and they thought she was only making up false allegations in order to win their court battle.
Mm-hmm.
All of her claims were proven to be untrue, and the judge was able to see that Stanley was the most level-headed and the best parent for the kids. On March 9th, an Australian judge awarded Stanley custody of 2 of his kids and guardianship of a third, his stepchild, who was 5 years old, and then his children, 2 and 3 years old. The judge allowed Sarah to keep the infant that was born the year before. Even though Sarah had tried to ruin his reputation and lie on him, it didn't work. Stanley had been living in the new home he had built for 6 months, had a new girl, her name Coletta, and now he had his 3 kids as well. Sarah would no longer him and paint a picture that he was a sperm donor. But him winning the case, it broke Sarah. She wasn't able to have her way. That's when she decided that she would come up with a plan to fix everything. After losing in court earlier in the day, Sarah found herself in the middle of the night on March 10th, jumping in a car heading over to Stanley's house. She stopped by the gas station on the way over. It was time for her to execute her plan, a plan to make Stanley pay for winning their court battle and taking what she believed was her most prized possessions away. By 3 a.m., Sarah was at Stanley's house. She broke into the house and went into his room, where the 2-year-old had been sleeping, along with Stanley and his girlfriend, Coletta. The bitter, angry woman threw gas on her ex and his new woman and started a fire. Stanley tried saving his children as the fire erupted and kept growing louder. Fortunately, the 3 kids, they were able to get out of the house, along with Coletta.
Which is good. I'm glad the kids were able to get out of the house. However, this is the problem with these modern women that act like feminists. Okay, all right. These modern women that live out of order. These modern women that live out of order. These single mothers, again, that don't live by the womanly nature. These women, they create chaos. And as you can see in this story, what happens, she went to this, when she lost her children, she realized she was going to be alone. Her actions made her alone. She even lost the child that wasn't his. She lost that. Which is insane, because that never happens. The stepdad never gets the stepchild. Never. But she knew when she was going to be alone, she broke. She broke. Her mind broke. And then she decides to burn them to death. To burn her family to death. This is why you need to be good at vetting women. That's why in earlier I had to point out the problems of her. Because those are the type of women you have to ignore. Overweight, single mother that wears a lot of makeup, that wears nose rings and weird piercings. Ignore those type of women, because those type of women can be dangerous. Let's finish watching this video.
Stanley was still stuck inside, but one of his neighbors ran into the burning house and pulled him out. No one could save Sarah. She was still in the house that she set on fire.
Tonight, a woman is dead and a man is fighting for life after being doused in petrol and set alight during a shocking domestic attack south of Brisbane.
Fighting flames to help the man escape, residents are in complete shock. Police describing the scene as one of the worst they've faced.
early morning tragedy on a Logan Street. Running from this burning home, police say aged care worker Stanley Obi and his new girlfriend were doused in petrol and set alight
Damn.
before escaping to the street during a disturbing domestic violence attack.
We believe the person who does not reside at that residence somehow gained entry, and then once in there was able to throw petrol around.
Parking this car in bushland, breaking through a bedroom window, this is the woman accused of arson. 9 News understands Sarah Mudge was in a long-term relationship with Stanley Obi, which ended.
Yeah, and just think what would happen if she would have stayed with the kid, if the kids would have stayed with her. Just imagine that. That's scary, bro. I feel sorry for this man for having to deal with that. But that's scary, man. That's scary what would happen to the children if they would have stayed with her. Thank goodness he saved them from them. Unfortunately, good men like this end up going through the worst stuff.
About 6 months ago.
Police have had contact with the male victim and an ex-partner in relation to domestic incidents.
Once again, we see the complexities of domestic and family. Trapped in her own trail of destruction, the 31-year-old died inside a hallway before police could get to her. It's understood a neighbour ran into the burning home to help Stanley and his new partner. Family telling 9 News this is unbearable, saying the 33-year-old had only recently moved here and was the happiest he's ever been.
I was actually shocked and I was wondering what actually happened.
Tonight, the aged care worker is in hospital with critical burns to 90% of his body. Doctors say he may not survive.
Damn.
His partner is in a serious condition.
It's a quiet area. We love this area. So this is a shock to us as well.
The damage inside this home is so extensive. Investigators say it could be days before they can officially determine what happened here. Tonight, forensics remain on scene.
Oh.
And combing through rubble and also going through neighbouring homes where residents tried desperately to conduct first aid. A community fundraising initiative has been set up for Obi's recovery. Meanwhile, a coroner will investigate the death of his former partner.
Damn.
The father was rushed to the hospital with burns to 90% of his body, where he fought to survive for 17 hours.
In hospital after a house fire south of Brisbane.
Damn.
Melissa Saganto is in Logan. Talissa, what happens?
Good morning, Joe. Well, sadly, police have confirmed this morning that 33-year-old Stanley Obi passed away in hospital overnight after suffering burns to 90%.
That's
of his
terrible,
body.
man.
His former partner,
Jeez.
Sarah Mudge, broke into his Logan and used an accelerant to set light to the home. At the time, Mr. Obi and his new partner were asleep inside. They did manage to escape and get help from neighbours, but obviously Mr. Obi was critically injured. Now, Ms. Mudge also died in this house fire overnight, but
Cruel fate.
police are yet to recover her body because there
Cruel
was so
fate.
much damage to this house, but it's been deemed unsafe to access. So it is expected that this will happen today once investigators can get back inside. Now, the other woman, she was taken to hospital as a precaution. She's expected to speak to police today. Obviously, investigations here are still underway and are in their early stages, Joe, but I can tell you that Obi and Mudge did have domestic orders taken out against each other.
After sunrise, the fire department, they pulled what was left of Sarah out of the house, and now all 4 children are without both Sarah and Stanley. Sarah's plan fully executed. If she couldn't have the kids, Stanley wasn't going to be able to have them either. His new girlfriend, Carletta, she was applauded for her quick-thinking actions that helped to save the kids' lives. And then you have one of Sarah's friends who came to her defense. She further explained that even after the breakup, Sarah never denied Stanley access to the kids and had often gone out with him on outings to help him with the kids. She explained that she must not have been in the right state of mind, saying that taking the kids away from her pushed her to a point of no return. There are fathers all over right now in courts who love their kids too. Their kids are being ripped away from them as we speak. Mothers getting full, complete custody of them.
Mm-hmm.
Fathers getting a child support bill and a silly schedule to see their kid once or twice a month out of 30, 31 days. But as soon as you give fathers like Stanley complete custody, toxic, insane mothers like Sarah, they literally lose their mind. And in that
Exactly. Exactly. They literally lose their minds. And then they do things like this. Try to burn the house down. We've had plenty of stories where modern women now are taking out their children. They're trying to take out their children. They're taking out their children because the father has full custody. Because women cannot handle being alone.
case, you would think that fathers would be losing their minds every second.
Exactly.
Let's go ahead and get the conversation started.
Exactly. If that was the case, you think men would be doing this all over the place. Because fathers lose their good men lose their children all the time. But we can handle that. Women, when they lose their children, every time, it's always some type of chaos in the end. Always. Instead, women would rather take out their children instead of working with the man. They rather do that. And it's so insane to say nowadays because people love to think that women are nurturers, which they are. Unfortunately, modern women have lost that ability. They become way too selfish, way too entitled, and when they lose, they end up losing their minds because they can never imagine themselves losing like that. The world has never slapped them in the face like that. So when they actually get correct, just destroy. It's ridiculous. Men, y'all gotta do well in vetting women, modern women nowadays. Y'all gotta know the signs. If she has different color hair, if she is not in shape, and make excuses to why to not be in shape. Because there's a difference between being not in shape and working to be in shape than actually not to actually making excuses to why you can't be in shape. She got the nose ring and she was a single mother. When women do things out of order, they become mentally unstable. But all right, guys. I think I'm gonna end the stream here. Please hit that like button, hit the notification bell so you know next time I drop. As well as if you enjoyed and wanted to help grow this page monetarily, you can donate to the Cash App and PayPal. I will talk with y'all soon. You guys be safe. I will work on being back on tomorrow, but I'll also be dropping videos as well. You guys be safe. Peace.